Hello and welcome to the ninth and final round of the Leiden Chess Tournament. Previous game was a short draw, as you might have seen, and this game I was still the sole leader of the tournament. 3 players half a point behind me, and I was gonna play with white against Grandmaster Ikonnikov, and he was a full point behind, so I knew he wasn't gonna be satisfied with the draw, which means I could expect a strong player going for the win in this important game. And it was up to me to try and find a way to get a solid position where I can either just make a draw, because drawing would mean tournament victory, so that's of course very nice. But also keep a chance to still win the game, because if the position is, solid for me or just equal, and if he doesn't want to draw, he needs to push, and that can also give me opportunity to win the game. Now, let's see how the game went. So I played e4, he went c5, knight e3, knight c6, and Ikonnikov is quite known by playing the Kalashnikov. He's done so for so many years. But lately he switched to some, well, didn't really switch, he also played some modern and peerage openings. So some g6, d6 kind of ideas. And I did expect him to play one of these openings to increase his winning chances. I think his Kalashnikov is more solid, but it's pretty difficult for black to win if white doesn't intend to do anything special in the opening. So I think white has better drawing chances against the Kalashnikov than the modern or the peerage. So I did expect this opening from him, but he went for c5, knight 3, knight c6. And normally I play bishop b5 here, because I quite like these positions, but I feared that against the Kalashnikov I have a much better opportunity to take a solid position without taking too many risks, because in the end I was just satisfied with the draw, of course, in this game to secure the tournament victory. So I guess I surprised him a little bit in the opening here. So he took on d4, knight takes, he played e5, knight b5, d6. Now you have several ways to play it with white, but I played c4 just to get these pawns here and create a nice strong square on d5. And obviously this d6 pawn, this backward pawn for black, is his main weakness in the position. So he played bishop e7, knight c3, a6, and knight a3. The only downside of this opening is I have to put my knight on a3, which is a bit silly. But knight is quite a natural way of finding its way to the strong d5 square, or maybe the f5 square in some lines as well. So I do lose some time, but once I get my knight to e3, I'm quite happy. So he played bishop e6, bishop e2, and now normally he plays like bishop g5, which is a way for black to exchange his bad bishop for my good bishop, basically, because with my pawns on white, I quite like my black bishop as well, so I can control the light squares but also the dark squares. So normally he exchanges his bishop, but still, since white has a very strong bind, this Maroczy bind with e4, c4, exchanging those bishops is not such a big deal for me. So he played knight d4, and I didn't know this move. I did check a few sidelines because I figured if I surprise him in the opening, he probably realizes I prepared, so he probably deviates somewhere to at least confuse me. Because he also knew I don't really play this open Sicilian against 2 knights e6 too often. So since he knows a lot of things about the Kalashnikov, I figured he would try some sidelines somewhere, but I forgot to check this line. I castled, I wasn't too sure about it. Maybe I should have played knight c2. The reason is that if he, first of all, I want to contest the knight on d4, because the knight on d4 is just quite annoying for me. And if he takes an e2, queen takes, and if he decides to attack the c4 pawn, I can go knight e3 straight away. And now I got my knight on e3 instead of the silly a3 square, and still have my c pawn defended. So maybe I should have played this. After the game, I regret my choice of not playing knight c2 a little bit. No, well, during the game, I mean. And after the game, I realized it probably would have been better. But I castled instead. But now he takes an e2, queen takes, and he goes rook c8. And now I don't really have time to play knight c2 to e3. Because I need to protect my c4 pawn. And it's not so easy to protect this pawn. You would say I can play a move like b3, but it runs into b5. And because my knight is unprotected on c3, my knight is unprotected on c3, I can't take the pawn on b5. And now this is getting awkward, because b4 is a threat, and also b takes c4 is becoming an option if I decide to move this knight to stop the b4 threat. So, and once he gets to play b5 and he can weaken my pawns a bit, I lose control over the center, and if I lose control over the d5 square, then I'm in trouble, because that's the only thing I have basically. So what he wants to do is he wants to try to weaken the c4 pawn, weaken the e4 pawn, just to get the d5 square away from me, and then he can create some crazy initiative with black with the pair of bishops. So after rook c8, I decided to just go knight d5, because I need to release the pressure on this c4 pawn, and I need to prepare a move like b3. Therefore I had to move my knight from c3, not to allow b5, and then I can finally move my knight around to e3. So he played knight f6, and here I'm not sure what I was thinking, but I decided to play a waiting move, even though I had a plan, but I wasn't really sure what plan I wanted to execute at this point. I thought, well, he's not very likely to take on d5, because if he wanted to take on d5 with a bishop, he could have done so in this position, but he didn't. So I thought, well, I'll just play b3 and leave it up to him what's going to happen. And I thought if he wants to try and go for the win, maybe he can take on d5, pawn takes, and go bishop d7. Now he has the pair of bishops, but the center is quite closed. My knight is still a bit silly though, but I need to try and get my knight to a more active square. I wanted to go bishop d2, where black goes b5. And I just want to go rook c1, castles, and knight c2. And eventually the knight is going to try and jump to c6, which is a beautiful square for the knight. And it's not so easy for black to try and find a plan. He can try to put pressure on my e-pawn, but I can just play a3 and keep the position closed. And if he pretends it's the King's Indian and tries to set up this attack with g5, g4, he's going to be way too slow. But the king side is already opened up, and he doesn't have enough pieces to create any threats against my king. So I can just play a3, and yeah, his bishops will never really become super strong. So I thought this was, well, fine for me, not such a big deal anyway. I thought I would be slightly better, but that's apparently not the case, according to the engine. So he could have taken on d5, but he didn't. He castled, and now I still got to execute my my original plan, which was to take on e7, which looks a bit strange because I'm exchanging this weak bishop, so to speak. But he took with the queen, of course, and bishop g5, and now I want to get rid of the knight as well. He played h6 because he wants to force matters, else the pin is going to be there forever. So I took an f6, queen takes, and played rook d1. And here we get like the same sort of position as in my game from round 7 against Leiden Chess, where I will try to create this huge pawn structure against the light square bishop, and also the weak pawn on d6, where I can try to put my rooks on the d file and try to put enough pressure on this pawn to win it. So I thought this would be a nice moment to offer the draw, because I just didn't want to take any risks, and I didn't want to go into some unclear positions. I was very happy with the draw, so I decided to just offer the draw here, and I thought it was an offer he couldn't refuse at this point. He can try to create some counterplay because he has a few moves. Once again, he has f5 and b5. These are his main moves to try and put pressure on my pawns and activate his pieces. So he'll probably give up on the d pawn at some point and try to become active, which isn't that dangerous. But with my knight still in a3 but out of play, it also takes a little while for me to be able to activate my pieces. So I knew I was better, of course, but I didn't really want to take any risks, so he went for the draw. And when he accepted, I was just so happy. It meant I was just clinching the tournament victory, basically, and it was so huge. So normally I don't really like to offer draws and make quick draws, but this situation was just a very unique opportunity for me to win the tournament. And but this, of course, is a position you can safely play on for a while, and of course try to win the game. But once again, very happy with the result. So even though the last two games weren't too exciting, I didn't really want you to miss out on these games, because I still think there's some interesting things happening, and still some stuff to learn as well for everyone. So this is the final game of the tournament, and I hope you enjoyed the analysis of all the games. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, just please let me know in the comments, and I'll gladly answer the questions for you. So I hope you enjoyed these games, and I want to thank you for watching.